Good afternoon. This is Wendy Gaylor with the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce coming to you Chamber Vibes podcast. And we are excited to offer some wonderful guest speakers interviews this week and actually the whole month and for movers and shakers for Bedford, our Bedford leaders. And we have an awesome leader today. I'm so excited. Bart Warner, our town manager. Welcome, Bart.
Thank you, Wendy. Great to be with you today.
Well, we are just so thrilled and so honored to have you and excited to learn more about you and what's going on with the town right now. And first off, I want to find out, for our listeners want to find out too, I know, how long have you been here and what brought you here to Bedford?
I have been in Bedford for 21 years now. Came here from Charlotte, North Carolina. Kind of a long and winding path here, but started here as the planning director for what was then the city of Bedford, and then was promoted to assistant city manager, and then of course we became a town. And then when Mr. Kolakowski moved on, I was able to succeed him as town manager, and just didn't really expect to be here this long or have any ideas, but really glad it has worked out because Bedford's just a fantastic place to be. And
I have to concur.
Frankly, don't want to be anywhere else. So
it's the best place on earth. So let's find out some fun things, something that we did not know about our town manager, Bart Warner. Tell us something fun, maybe something from childhood, anything that our listeners would love to find out about you.
Okay, well, I guess I need to begin by describing my specific vintage. I'm going to turn 50 this year, so growing up out in Southwest Virginia with the cultural influences of the time, I was heavily influenced by, TV shows that were current and interesting, and there was an interesting nexus between that and the household rules I grew up in, one of which was we attended church every Sunday, and whereas I typically ran around and, cut off jeans and T-shirts, my mom did want me to dress a little nicer on Sunday. So the compromise we reached was that I owned a short sleeve Captain Kirk Starfleet shirt.
Oh, awesome.
And a long sleeve blue Mr. Spock Starfleet shirt. And in the summertime, I could wear my Captain Kirk shirt to church. And in the wintertime, I could be Mr. Spock. And that was acceptable church attire in the Warner family in Dorian Bottom in 1974.
Wow, I love that story. How wonderful. And your parents, I know that they're so cool. They're
awesome. Good folks. They put up with a lot.
That is wonderful. I love finding out fun facts, and especially about our leaders, and just getting to know you. And, we're just excited, and certainly you're a wonderful leader for our community. So we thank you and look forward to more years ahead. So let's get right to it as far as, how is our state of the community and our town right now?
We are in excellent operating condition, and that's a byproduct of a lot of hard work and following through on some tough decisions in the past. Some great leadership exhibited by my predecessors in my role. I'll give credit to some great town managers that we've had. Charlie Kolakowski, Jack Gross, Craig Meadows, Bedford has a reputation for being well run and well managed, and that's a high bar that we try to maintain. So I will tell you, financially, we're in good shape. We have made some investments in infrastructure. We have developed plans and followed through on them, and we constantly have goals in front of us that we work to meet. When the COVID crisis hit, we were actually ahead of that curve, although that was somewhat unintentional. We had a 3-year plan to kind of make our operating funds self-sufficient, which we had hit back in 2019. And so when we were working on the budget before the pandemic hit, we were already looking at doing some things to kind of streamline our operations and forego some expenditures that allowed us to make it through the crisis without having to make serious adjustments. So I guess what I would tell listeners is, from a financial perspective, we're in a very strong position. Our funds are self-sufficient. We have contingencies funded. We have reserves in place, and we think we can provide the level of service without adding expenditures or increases in costs.
That's wonderful. And, also the grants that the town provided during the pandemic for $5,000 was huge for our businesses in the town. And, that was just such a benefit and helped a lot of them to get through that time. And some of them are still struggling a little bit, but yet, there's the PPP money out there and other things. But you guys have been a huge supporter for our businesses, so we appreciate that.
Well, and I have to give credit to our elected officials, and actually not many people know this, but our town council was way ahead of that curve and actually received some criticism at the front end for considering something that was a little bit revolutionary at the time. But pretty much every other community I'm aware of that has the means has done exactly what we did. So
absolutely,
we've had visionary leadership at the top always.
Well, and we do. We have fabulous, I have to concur with that too. And, let's talk about the infrastructure, which is the platform for our economy and our growth, our future growth. What are we doing correctly for that? What's new, and where are we with that in Bedford?
One of the unusual things about Bedford is we operate our own electrical utility, and I know that is a little bit odd, and most people tend to look at a straight up cost benefit analysis. First thing I'll tell you is, in terms of what our customers pay, we feel that we're competitive, and frankly, with the utilities that are adjacent to us, we feel like our rates might actually be a little bit lower. But our primary focus really is on the level of service. And for electric, our commitment is to maintain reliable electric service all the time. We don't want the power to ever go out, but if it does, we want to be able to get it back quickly. And we think that we're better positioned to do that because we can give that attention directly to our customers immediately. Whereas the utilities that are adjacent to us, they do a great job. Nothing critical to say about them, but AEP, for instance, has a huge territory. So, an outage on my street may not be as high a priority for them in an overall system. Whereas if your power's out and you call our electric department, we're going to tell you what the problem is, give you an idea of when we can get it fixed, and we're going to be on top of it. The other thing is, the board of directors here is the town council. So if you've really got a concern or a question, you can go straight to the top on the second, fourth Tuesday of the month anytime and talk to the bosses. So
and
here comes the train.
Here comes the train, and we should say, Bart, are we getting a train stop, Bart?
Should I wait till the train goes by to answer that question? Okay, as the train rolls by, I will say that I am very optimistic about the likelihood of an Amtrak stop being located in Bedford. I know this has been an ongoing effort. There's been a citizen group, the Bedford Franklin Rail Initiative. Our elected officials, both town, county, and at the state level, have been very supportive in helping us make the argument and analyze the business case for it. And whereas I think maybe a lot of people see it as maybe a nice thing to have or kind of a convenience or a luxury, as we are progressing, the business case for a stop here continues to grow. And the reason I say that is some of this is tied to the recent announcement for the New River Valley. And if you paid careful attention to Governor Northam's comments, he mentioned that the long-term goal is to extend service all the way to Bristol, to the state line. I can tell you that in our conversations with the transportation folks at the state level and the federal level, they feel like we would probably be ahead of that end of the state in terms of extending service. There have been agreements reached with CSX and Norfolk Southern to resolve some of the freight issues here. The other thing I'll tell you is just that demographically, Bedford as a market is growing. We're still waiting on the census data from 2020, but we feel pretty certain that Bedford County is now eclipsing the city of Lynchburg in terms of its population. And then if you couple the population of Franklin County and the lake residents, that's really fueling a lot of the demand for a station here. So I know we use the phrase world's best little town, but and we are that, but when we say best little, that's really a term of affection. It's not really an accurate metric anymore. I mean,
Right.
Bedford's a pretty happening place now, and that's got a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges that go with it.
Right. And when you're talking about Bedford and how many that it's going to serve, I mean, you're talking about residents all the way around the surrounding county, not just the town. And certainly, as you mentioned, the lake, and, at least, close to 80,000
80,000 in Bedford County. And the other thing, in the studies we've conducted, one of the issues, and we recognize this from Amtrak's perspective, is they don't want to dilute their customer base by adding stations that will draw from existing service points. But our data shows that we have enough new customers that would not draw riders away from Lynchburg at Kemper Street or downtown Roanoke. So really, these are new customers in a new exciting market that Amtrak sees. And I don't have a specific time frame for when it might happen, but I'm very optimistic that there will be passenger rail available here in Bedford directly.
And that thrills me, and certainly our entire area that is really wanting this travel. And certainly we don't have the public transportation right now, so this would be huge for our business community and our community in general, and certainly for tourism as well. And I think one of the first reports was about 6,000 that it would take from Lynchburg. But like you say, truly, these are new riders. So we look forward to really having that here in Bedford, and growth. That's exciting, and tourism dollars. So people coming into the area that maybe haven't been here before, and they're coming out for D-Day, they're coming out for the peaks, or the lake, any of it and all of it is so valuable to us right now. So that's exciting, and you're doing a fabulous job with all of this. And certainly we have the legislator support with Delegate Terry Austin and Senator Steve Newman as well, which is going to really catapult this. So thank you for your support. So what do you think is improving our competitiveness in Bedford? How do we compare to other towns and cities of our size?
Well, Bedford, first off, there's no other place in the world like Bedford, so that's our immediate advantage. And I think maybe people are just discovering that, which seems kind of odd. Of course, I can say that as somebody who wasn't born and raised here myself. I think we live in an era where we could all pretty much live and work anywhere we choose to. And my own perspective is I don't really want to be anywhere else myself. And I don't think I'm alone in that sentiment. I mean, I think the geographic setting we have, the natural features, the peaks, the lake, the proximity to bigger markets in Roanoke and Lynchburg, and also beyond that, the ability to access truly major markets like Charlotte and D.C. And then, of course, if the rail comes through, you're talking about Bedford really being accessible to the outside world. So I think geography is part of it. I think there are great traditions and a sense of history here that attract people. Bedford is a real place, and it's full of great people, and it's full of real people. And I think people are craving more than just an existence. I think people are looking to live in a real place. And I just don't see anywhere that compares to Bedford in that regard. So it's the natural beauty, it's the geography, it's the people, it's the history. Biggest challenge I think we're going to have is to maintain the great things and the identity of the past as we try to accommodate this growth in the future.
Absolutely. And, I really enjoy hearing that you love where you live, and that makes it so easy to continue to enhance the services and everything that we provide. And so we definitely have the right leader in place because you love Bedford, and we are so unique. What makes Bedford, you just described some things, for my next question, but What is truly the most, I guess, makes Bedford the most unique?
I just believe that life here is more accommodating probably than any other place I can consider. And I'm going to reference a very contemporary issue with the gas shortage. My own experience is that I like my car and it's very convenient, and for the next week or two, I don't really need to use my car to take care of most of my life functions in Bedford. I live on Bedford Avenue, pretty close to center town, so I can walk to work. I don't do that enough, but I should. So, hey, this will be a good thing for me personally. Uh, we have a grocery store downtown with Elba. Food Lion's not too much of a walk for me. It's just a pleasant existence. One of the other things, infrastructure wise, I wanted to speak to because some people have had questions about it is our sidewalk project. People see that we've extended sidewalk on Peak Street. That's been talked about for years. And part of our comp plan is to install sidewalks on every single street. Now, that's much like the train, that's not really just a luxury item. That's part of our transportation network. And in situations where, well, if your car's in the shop, that happens to everybody. We want to make sure that you can get around pretty easily without endangering yourself as a pedestrian. But then also, if we can do that correctly and design these things well, every street could function as something of a linear park. And again, Bedford's already an attractive enough place where it doesn't take too much to push that needle a little bit forward. So when I talk about how unique Bedford is, it's already so good. And with just a little bit of enhancement, it becomes truly great. Actually, I would say it's already truly great. It just becomes even greater.
That's right. I totally believe it. And, we were one of the first ones to do an outdoor gym.
Yes.
How exciting is that? And so we have so much to offer here, and we only are going to get better and better. And what is next for Bedford?
Well, immediately with the town, and I'm happy to speak about this, we changed our status. We were a city for years, which made a lot of sense and actually had some benefits long term for us. But the decision was made to change our status to a town, which also makes a lot of sense. So in a couple of years, we will be expanding our boundaries, primarily in the North Hills and Town and Country neighborhoods. Those folks will become town residents in 2023. So we are currently calibrating our level of service to accommodate those folks to make sure they get everything at the same level that existing citizens get, that the citizens experience the same level of service, and that we do all of that without increasing costs, which we feel pretty confident about. And then beyond that, most of the reversion agreements expire in 2028. So really in 2028, the town of Bedford and this market is kind of on its own. But in advance of that, although we are getting ready to build a new police station, which we need because those guys have outgrown that space in the basement. Other than that project, we will essentially be debt-free by 2027. So by the end of this decade, Bedford should be financially and organizationally in a very uniquely competitive position. Obstacles will always present themselves, but we have done a pretty good job at eliminating the ones that we're aware of and trying to come up with a true vision to meet the needs of our citizens.
And you're doing a great job. And, we're excited about the boutique hotel as well coming our way. 2022, I believe, projected maybe January.
And the Waukesha now owns the property, which is good. And this is bureaucratic nerd talk, but that's significant. That property's on the tax roll for the first time since maybe 100 years ago. So I know people are anxious for Mr. McCormick to get started, but it's already contributing to the community by virtue of the fact that it's a private property on the tax rolls. But yes, 2022, 2023, I think we'll see some activity there. We've also approved some redevelopment of old industrial buildings right in the middle of town. So really within the last 6 months, I think town council has approved plans for about 250 residential units. And if you do the math, that could equate to about 500 additional residents. So growth is here.
Absolutely. And this is very promising. So much to look forward to. And you guys are really moving the dial with town council. So thank you for spearheading that. And, we're excited to hear more from you. So this was just a tidbit, tip of the iceberg. And we'll look forward to learning more May the 20th at Beals. We'll hear from you and our county as well with Robert Hiss. And also maybe our new Bedford County Supervisor may be making a guest appearance. So this is going to be May the 20th. You do want to pre-register to hear from our leaders in Bedford. So look forward to seeing you there. Please remember to pre-register for this event. There is space for 50 outdoors at Beals, 4:30 on the 20th.
Well, and let me say, and on the 20th, you'll hear that we enjoy so many wonderful collaborations. Bedford County, the town and county staff work extremely well together. The school system is full of people who are dedicated to the future and very innovative. Chamber's a great partner. We have just all kind. When I talk about the real people in the community, we have so many brilliant people here with brilliant ideas who are willing to share those and work to achieve them, and that's something else that's unique. So wanted to throw that in as well. And thank the Chamber for all you guys do.
Thank you so much, Bart. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on the 20th, coming right on up.
Looking forward to it.
Have a great day.
Thank you.